If you care about your health, pay attention, because this is one of those kitchen combos that looks harmless, smells comforting, and can still go very wrong if you use it the way the internet tells you to. Cloves and cinnamon are being mixed into teas, powders, capsules, and miracle drinks every day. And most people think the only question is whether it works. That's not the first question. The first question is what it does to your body when the dose, the type, and the timing are wrong. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the one version of this combo that stands above all the others, because it's not the strongest looking method. It's the one your body is least likely to fight. Here's the hidden reason people get this wrong. I call it the concentrate trap. It's simple. A little spice in food is one thing, a daily homemade health shot, a supplement, a strong tea on an empty stomach, and a few extra shakes on top of that? That's a different game. It's like using a blowtorch to light a candle. Same fire, totally different outcome. This is why nothing worked before. You copied the ingredient, but your body reacts to the form, not just the ingredient. Cinnamon is not just cinnamon. Cassia cinnamon, the one most people buy, can contain much more coumarin, a compound linked to liver concerns in some people when intake is high or prolonged. Cloves are rich in eugenol, and in normal food amounts, that's not the same thing as concentrated clove oil, which is where the danger skyrockets. Even major health sources make that distinction. Food use is usually one story. High dose, long-term, concentrated use is another. And this is where things change. Because the damage rarely announces itself with a dramatic warning on day one, it starts quietly. A little stomach irritation, a weird burning feeling, nausea, a sudden dip in appetite. Maybe you feel shaky because you took your spice drink while also trying to eat clean and cut carbs at the same time. Most people stop there and think, it's natural, my body is adjusting. But here's the problem. Natural does not mean gentle. And it doesn't stop there. If you keep pushing concentrated forms, especially cassia cinnamon every day, especially supplements, especially if you already take medication, your body may start dealing with something far more serious than digestion. Coumarin can become part of the story. Liver stress can become part of the story. Blood sugar swings can become part of the story. And if you add clove oil or strong clove extracts on top, now you're stacking more pressure onto a system that was never asking for that much stimulation in the first place. And it gets worse. Because some people are playing this game while also taking diabetes, medication, blood thinners, or other drugs that already affect the liver. That's where healthy routine can quietly turn into a bad interaction. Even NCCIH warns that herbs can interact with medicines, and that cassia cinnamon may be a problem for sensitive people, especially with liver issues. Here's the scary part. People don't usually overdose on flavor. They overdose on concentration. Livertox notes that eugenol, the major compound in clove oil, has caused severe liver injury in overdose situations, with the injury pattern looking like acute hepatic necrosis. That doesn't mean your holiday tea is poison. It means concentrated oils are not the same as culinary use, and treating them like harmless spice water is a serious mistake. So no, the real danger is not sprinkling cinnamon on oatmeal. The real danger is turning kitchen spices into a daily chemistry experiment. Now, let's rank the top 5 ways people use cloves and cinnamon, from least to most effective. And I want you to stay with me, because number 1 is the method almost nobody talks about. It's the one that gives you the benefits people chase without walking straight into the concentrate trap. Number 5 is the dessert disguise. This is when people throw cloves and cinnamon onto something already loaded with sugar and pretend the spices cancelled the damage. A cinnamon roll, sweet cereal, sugary coffee drinks, spiced pastries. You know the move. Yes, cinnamon contains cinnamaldehyde, and yes, some research has explored blood sugar effects. But using it as a decoration on a sugar bomb is like putting a seatbelt on while driving into a wall. The mechanism sounds nice on paper. The reality is weaker. Cleveland Clinic notes some studies found cinnamon may help lower blood sugar, but it is not a replacement for real treatment, and the amount and form matter a lot. The limitation here is obvious. The food around the spice overwhelms the point. Exact usage? If you want to use this combo in food, use a pinch of ground clove and about 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon in something protein-rich or fiber-rich, like plain yogurt or oats, not on top of a sugar-heavy dessert. The warning is simple. If the spice is just dressing up a bad habit, it's not helping much. Score: 4 out of 10. Number 4 is the empty stomach morning drink. This one gets hyped because it feels intense. Strong flavor, strong smell, strong reaction. People think the burn means it's working. Most people get this wrong. That burn is not a health signal. That can be irritation. The mechanism here is mostly behavioral. A hot, bitter spice drink can suppress appetite for a while and make you feel lighter. But that doesn't mean your body loves it. For some people, especially those with reflux, sensitive stomachs, or a tendency toward nausea, this is where the trouble starts. The limitation is that the same intensity people chase is exactly what makes it hard to tolerate. Exact usage, if someone insists on trying it, should be mild. 1 cup of hot water, 1 whole clove, a small piece of Ceylon stick, or 1/4 teaspoon ground Ceylon cinnamon. Steep for 5 to 7 minutes. Never use clove oil. Never dump in spoonfuls. And here's the warning. If you feel burning, shakiness, or stomach pain, that is not discipline. That is feedback. Score: 5.5 out of 10. Number 3 is the bedtime comfort, tea. Now we're getting closer to useful. Why? Because this version usually lowers the dose, slows the pace, and reduces the urge to overload the mix. Warmth can help create a calming routine. The spice flavor can reduce the craving for sweet snacks at night. And behavior matters more than people think. A good routine beats an aggressive hack almost every time. But here's the problem. People still ruin it by turning tea into concentrate. They boil it too long. They add too much powder. Or they combine it with honey, syrup, or late-night sweets and undo the whole point. The limitation is that bedtime tea helps routine more than it helps metabolism directly. Exact usage is 1 cup after dinner, not right before lying down if you get reflux. Use 1 whole clove and 1/4 teaspoon Ceylon, cinnamon, or half a small stick. Keep it light. The warning is important. If you are pregnant, on blood thinners, managing diabetes medication, or dealing with liver disease, you should not freestyle this, because it's just tea. Score: 6.8 out of 10. And now, you can probably feel it. The better methods are not the loudest ones. They're the ones that respect dose. That's exactly why number 1 works so differently. But before we get there, I need to show you the 2 methods people think are weaker, even though they're the ones that actually give your body a chance to respond instead of rebel. Number 2 is the food-anchored blend. This is where things start to get smart. Instead of hitting your body with a strong spice drink in isolation, you attach the spices to a real meal. That changes everything. The meal slows the absorption. The protein or fiber softens the impact. The flavor helps you enjoy low-sugar foods more. And suddenly this isn't a detox trick, it's a system. That matters. Because science around cinnamon is mixed, NCCIH says research doesn't clearly support cinnamon supplementation for health conditions, and Cleveland Clinic points out it should never replace real treatment, even though some studies have found modest improvements in blood sugar or lipids. In other words, this isn't magic, it's support. And support works best when your body isn't being slammed. The mechanism here is practical, not flashy. The spices may help with flavor satisfaction and reduce the need for added sugar. The meal context may also be the only time the combo makes real behavioral sense. The limitation is speed. This won't feel dramatic, which is exactly why people abandon it. Exact usage is simple. Add 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon and a tiny pinch of ground clove to oatmeal, Greek yogurt, chia pudding, or a high-fiber smoothie. Not 3 times a day. Once a day is enough to start. The warning? Do not use cassia by default every single day for months if you're taking high amounts. BFR notes a tolerable daily intake for coumarin of 0.1 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day, and says an adult weighing 60 kilograms could hit that around 6 milligrams daily. They also note roughly 2 grams of cassia cinnamon per day can reach that threshold for that adult. Score: 8.3 out of 10. Which brings us to number 1. And this is the reveal I told you to wait for. The most powerful method is not the strongest mix. It's the controlled Ceylon and clove routine. Not a shot. Not a challenge. Not a capsule stack. A routine. A routine. A routine. A routine. A routine. This wins because it combines multiple mechanisms at once without crossing into the concentrate trap. It uses Ceylon cinnamon instead of high coumarin cassia when possible. It keeps clove in culinary amounts instead of drifting into oil territory. It anchors the combo to meals or gentle tea instead of blasting your stomach. And maybe most important, it turns the spices into a replacement for sugar-heavy habits, not a decoration on top of them. That's why it dominates. It works on chemistry a little, on appetite patterns a little, on consistency a lot. And consistency is where bodies change. Here's the exact method. In the morning, use 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon and just a pinch of ground clove in food, not in a concentrated drink. Oatmeal is ideal. Unsweetened yogurt works too. Keep it boring. Boring is powerful. At night, after dinner, use 1 whole clove and another 1/4 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon in hot water. Steep it lightly for 5 to 7 minutes. Sip it slowly. Do not add clove oil. Do not add spoonfuls of cinnamon. Do not take a capsule on top for extra effect. That's the recipe. That's the method. And this is why it beats the others. Because it respects dose, type, timing, and tolerance all at once. Cleveland Clinic highlighted a study where daily cinnamon supplementation was associated with lower blood sugar over a 40-day period. But they also make the key point most people ignore. Cinnamon is not a replacement for medication, and concentrated supplements can become risky. That's exactly why the food-based, moderate, Ceylon-scented method is the better play. Now let's make this useful. Here's your action plan. For the first 3 days, don't chase results. Just test tolerance. Morning, the food-anchored blend. Night, the gentle tea. That's it. If your stomach feels irritated, cut the dose in half or stop. After 1 week, look for small changes, not miracles. Less craving for sweet snacks, better consistency with breakfast, fewer random health hack experiments, maybe steadier eating patterns. That's the real first win. By day 30, if this routine actually fits your life, you may notice something deeper. Not a dramatic transformation in the mirror, a quieter change, more control, less sugar dependence, less obsession with hacks. Finally, your routine starts doing the heavy lifting. And that's the hidden transformation most people miss. The spices are not the hero. The structure is. Now the warnings, because this is where people sabotage themselves. Mistake number 1 is using cassia cinnamon daily in large amounts, because it's cheaper and easier to find. That is where coumarin becomes a bigger concern. BFR explicitly recommends moderation with cassia and suggests Ceylon for people who use larger amounts more often. They also note that liver effects from coumarin are usually reversible, which is important, but usually reversible is not the same as ignore it. Mistake number 2 is using clove oil like it's the same as a whole clove. It is not. LiverTox is very clear that overdose situations with eugenol-containing clove oil can cause severe liver injury. Again, that's not your tiny culinary dose. That's the whole point. The form changes the risk. Mistake number 3 is stacking this combo with medication without asking questions. If you take blood thinners, diabetes, drugs, or anything affecting the liver, the smart move is not guessing. NCCIH warns that cinnamon and other herbs can interact with medications in harmful ways. Mistake number 4 is thinking more is better. More is not better. More is just more. And sometimes, more is the exact moment support turns into stress. So here's the challenge. Try the controlled version for 30 days. Track what actually changes. Your cravings, your consistency, your digestion, your energy after meals, not your fantasies, your reality, because the goal is not to scare you away from spices. The goal is to stop you from being fooled by the wrong version of them. Cloves and cinnamon can be part of a smart routine. But only when you stop treating them like magic and start treating them like tools. Use the right type. Use the right dose, use the right timing, and let your body breathe. That's when the quiet, hidden shift begins. Not overnight, not theatrically, but finally, in a way that lasts.